everybody to another very special episode of Understable Minds. This is a follow-up to a previous special episode of Understable Minds. For one of the reasons this episode is special, we're somewhere else.
We are.
We have the same microphones. We have different headphones. We have a different table.
And people can see us.
We're in a different room. Those people and those people can see us.
Weird.
They can also see her.
Hey.
That's Kona.
Hi.
Kona's here.
Hi.
What's up, Kona?
Hi, guys.
Hopefully, if people are seeing/hearing this, hopefully you have checked out the prequel to this. We had already put out an episode with Kona. It should be available anywhere you find podcasts. It is just audio. There was no video for that one. Search it up. Listen to that one. We'll be talking about some of those things here. So, do it now. Listen to that first, because there's be spoilers in this episode. There will be
huge spoilers.
The storyline gets crazy in episode 2.
You're never gonna know. This isn't a prequel. Is what you're saying.
This is the sequel.
Okay,
and the sequel's always better.
Yeah.
Is what I've heard.
Ooh.
Easy,
Is
dude.
it?
The
I don't
prequel's
think
better
it is.
now.
Dang it! Son of a.
Okay. So Kona, hello.
Hello.
Welcome back. How are you?
Great. Obviously, I'm here.
Good. That's always good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
As long as this is the highlight of people's day and time, that's what we're looking for. In the first time that you were in town and when we recorded the first episode, one of the things that we did was we filmed a video that hopefully people have watched by now, where you went over to Jones East with Eric and you played 9 holes, tested out some discs, kind of figured out what you might like, what you might not like. And some of the main discs that were or seemed like they would be go-to discs for you in that video, I wanted to see if they are still currently discs that you're throwing, or if you think, well, maybe, I really liked it in the beginning, but I found this and it is a better fit for me. So the first one that came to mind for me, at least, was the Escape.
Yep.
You seem to really like that disc. Are you still liking the Escape?
Yeah, I'm still loving the Escape. I mean, when I went and played a practice round or, casual round with Denise and Eric, and there was just one shot, I believe, on hole 3 or 4. I threw it and it was just like perfect shot. Like I threw it flat and hard and it didn't turn over on me weird. And it just like barely faded and just parked the basket. And it was just like, I can just envision that shot in my head over and over. And I just fell in love with the Escape on that shot.
Yeah.
And since then it's been like one of my go-to drivers for 330 to 360 feet. I can hit it hard and I can trust it. But I really like the Escape, and it's actually going to be my tour series in the Fusion orbit. So I'm loving the Escape. Yeah. Which is actually awesome because, Escape is one of the first discs that Dynamic Discs came out with. So it fits and I like it a lot. So it's perfect.
That's awesome. She knows her history.
This is true.
I'm
her
trying.
Dynamic Discs history.
She spent the last little bit studying.
That's right.
Impressive.
She knew
stuff.
she had a test.
And I'm trying to remember everyone's name. Yes.
Yeah. That's not important.
Good luck with that, because
It is important.
Yeah, it's the good luck, because there's people here that I don't know their names, and I feel like a jerk.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's kind of
Jeremy.
it's a jerk move. Like,
who are you?
don't worry about it.
You have the same shirt, but you look different than me.
No, we're the same.
Hey, Danny? Did you grow up?
Sure. Did I? Is that an insult to me or Danny?
I don't think it's an insult to either of you.
Okay. I don't know.
I think it's a compliment to both of you.
All right. Well, you keep telling yourself that.
I will. One of the other discs that I remembered you throwing and seeming to like a lot was the Trespass. It's a little bit faster than the Escape. Is that something that you're still liking? Is that something you still think might make the bag?
It is in the bag. I have the Lucid X version.
Ooh, beefy.
So I use it for exactly that. So something straight with some hard left fade. My go-to driver though, same kind of speed as the Grace and then the Sapphire when there's no wind wide open.
Right.
I've actually been throwing the Grace a lot in Colorado, and I don't think I've ever thrown a disc that far. And that's funny for me to say because I throw pretty far.
You're used to throwing. Yeah.
She does throw far.
Very far.
But it added another 10, 15 feet I wasn't expecting.
Really?
And Colton was like, oh my gosh. So I don't know if it's that Royal Plastic or what, but the Grace has been a bomber for me.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Because it's really interesting that is a disc that flies farther for you, because I don't know the exact speed off the top of my head, but I think it's like an 11 speed. I think so. It's not the fastest, widest rim disc, but I feel like that's what people always assume is that, oh, it's a 10 speed or 11 speed. Because I think the Sapphire is a 10 or, oh, it's not going to go that far. I need something faster. If I want to throw far, it has to be a 13, 14, whatever. But you're throwing farther than you ever have with, I think it's an 11 speed. I might be wrong on that.
Might be 12.
Might be 12.
Might be in between. I don't know.
It's
Either way.
It goes far.
It does go far.
Yeah, that's really cool. Another one was the Maverick. It's a little bit slower than the Escape. Is that still something you're digging?
Yeah, it's actually one of my go-to drivers for like if there's woods. It's very effortless for me. I can hit it really hard flat and it does a little bit of turn, but I love the glide. So it's like if I were to recommend a disc to someone kind of getting into the sport or maybe looking for a step up from wait, did you say Maverick? I was talking about the Vandal.
Oh my.
Can we cut that? Oh, that's so awkward. Oh, that's so awkward. Anyways, I throw the Maverick a lot though, still. But for the same kind of purpose, but it doesn't like when I want it to go farther, I throw the Vandal. But for the Maverick, very effortless, dead straight. It's slow speed. So like I was kind of saying, if I'm recommending someone from like a Truth to like they want to step up to like a fairway, I'm probably going to recommend the Maverick because it's super straight and glidey.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
So talking about the Vandal, that's a very similar disc to the Escape. What kind of, in your head, where do you decide, okay, this is an Escape shot or this is a Vandal shot? Or do they kind of overlap for you? Is it kind of either one?
For me, the Escape has more fade, obviously, and I feel like I can trust it in more wind situations, where the Vandal, it gets a little sketchy when there's like some headwind. I think I'll be throwing the Vandal for more wooded shots. It doesn't really go left or right. It kind of just goes dead straight, and it's that 9 speed for me. So I can hit it hard and it gets that distance, but more controllable than like a Grace. But where I'm going to use the Escape over the Vandal is probably going to be, like I said, the wind situations, and also it won't like glide as far, I don't think, as like the Vandal. So more like distance control.
Okay.
So I won't go as far like past the basket or
So
something.
yeah, it sounds like the Escape is just more reliable for you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. This is one that I was frustrated to see that you were liking. It's the EMAC Judge.
Oh, ouch.
What do
Anthony just hates me. If you haven't figured that out yet, he just doesn't
Eric, welcome
like
to the show.
whatsoever. I don't know if it's a jealousy thing
It has
or what it is, but
no. It has nothing to do with you.
it just has to do with discs that are named after me.
It has everything to do with the fact that it's not a Warden.
Yeah,
I just want to know what we need to do to get you on Team Warden.
There's no bead. Sorry.
Exactly. There's no bead.
Exactly. So you just shank it and
Shout out to AJ Risley.
my putting
he
style.
came out with his Warden. Come on.
Right.
So the Warden's still a good disc.
it's a
very good frisbee.
throwing disc. It's not a good putting putter.
isn't it?
But I've made putts with a Warden.
Yeah.
Okay. So Kona, is the EMAC Judge still a disc that you think you're going to be putting with this year?
Yeah, so I'm putting with the classic blend right now, the hard, I believe.
Classic card.
Yep, classic hard, and I'm liking it a lot. I wasn't putting, like I said in the prequel, that I've been wanting a bead for a while, and the smaller bead on the EMAC Judge has been really nice, and I've been putting a lot recently. So
Yeah. Okay. And then the last one was the Pure. I think it was the Gold X Pure.
Kristen's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that still something you're thinking you're throwing?
it's still in the bag right now, but it's a little too similar to my Moonshine EMAC Judge. I was looking for something to kind of go hyzer flip to flat and maybe a little bit more understable. The Gold X, I think, is just a little bit too much understable for me. But then again, I've been throwing at elevation, so maybe it might change when I go to California. But it's still in the bag at this current moment. Just because I like the feel. It's a smaller rim. It feels more comfortable in my tiny hands, which they're not tiny. They're not too tiny. But it's good. It's in the bag at the moment, but we'll see.
Okay. Were there any discs that in the time from you were last here until you've come back now, were there any discs that you've had the chance to try since then?
I did a lot of field work recently, some secret field work, trying to stay away from all the people, making sure no one is around. And I tried the Getaway only on backhand, and it it just didn't fit into my lineup for backhand, but I think I'm going to revisit it and see if it's going to fit in my forehand slot.
Sure.
Just because I'm missing kind of an in-between disc. Like try this Pages Sargent. Little too flat, little too beefy for what I'm looking for. So I think the Getaway might be the perfect disc for what I'm looking for in a forehand. Something I can knife over, but it doesn't just like come straight out. Her Sargent was like,
yeah,
beef.
those are stable.
And that's probably the plastic too.
Yes,
a little bit of that. So you could,
Fusion
I mean, should probably try like a Lucid or a Fusion Sargent as well.
True.
And that could be
yeah,
what you're looking for also.
If you want to support Paige, go buy her.
Absolutely.
It's stable, but you can use it always. If you live in Kansas right now where it's super windy, it's perfect.
It is
Insane
so windy out there. Oof.
Yeah, and the Getaway also, for me, it feels really similar to the Escape.
Yeah.
And so if you are liking that, if that's going to be one of your go-to discs, then having that similar feel in your hand but a totally different flight is that sort of what you like to do for your bag? Do you like to kind of find discs that feel similar, or will, like Eric likes to throw a lot of the same shots? He likes to throw on a hyzer release and let the disc flip over or go straight or hyzer or whatever. Do you like to do kind of have similar feeling discs in your hand? Or does that not play much of a factor?
It doesn't play much of a factor. And honestly, since moving companies, I've really been sticking to the speed and like the fate of a disc to like just kind of get used to something else, just because I've never used another company's discs other than like before. And it's been helpful just like, okay, I need to find 2 7-speed discs like that I can throw hard, won't go as far as like my 9-speed, but like, okay, this one needs to be stable, this one needs to be understable. So it's like, for me, it's just been filling slots of speeds and stability.
Okay.
And that's been like super helpful to me personally. If you're looking into getting into like a new company, that's been like super nice.
I like that. I like that mindset of, because when you think about the trilogy lineup, I mean, there's
You can get
hundreds
overwhelmed.
of
So
discs to
many
choose.
discs.
So, yeah, having an idea of what route you want to go as far as speeds and fades, I think that's very smart.
I found my bag quick just doing
Really?
that. Yeah, like my bag feels pretty much set except for the forehand disc, which I'm looking for, and an understable putter. Everything else seems pretty dialed.
Yeah. Has switching companies and going to completely brand new discs, has that had an impact on your game, or are you saying this is my game, find a disc that fits it, rather than like, oh, I really like this disc, how do I change myself to fit this disc in my bag?
That really hasn't played in my mind too much. It's not like, I miss certain discs, but like, if any, like I really feel like I've kind of goodbye. Like it's out of my memory of those discs, and I'm not feeling like I'm replacing them. If anything, it feels like it's really exciting to be like, ooh, what does this one do? And okay, that's what I need for that shot. I'm not really comparing them as much, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which has actually been really fun in the process of doing things.
I feel like you could almost get yourself into trouble of like, I used to throw a leopard. I used to throw a leopard, and now the Maverick is close, but it flips just a little bit later, or it fades just a little bit less, or whatever. And then, it's not exactly the same. Whereas looking at it from a clean state of mind, if you will, is kind of like, okay, this is what this disc does. How can I use this? How can I help this, or use this to help me win tournaments? And
I think you have to go that route, because across manufacturers, discs, I mean, then there's comparisons that are close, but nothing is like, that's the same disc,
Right.
So that's the mindset you have to have going into it.
Yeah, and I was worried I wasn't going to find like a Mako 3. Obviously, that was like my go-to. But like, I was like, oh, I need to, like when I first like switched, I was like, oh my God, I need to find a disc that feels like it, flies like it, looks like it, whatever. And honestly, like since keeping that mindset of like, okay, this is completely brand new, like I've fallen in love with the Prime Truth. Like it's just like perfect. And it's like I wasn't even comparing it to the Mako 3, but it's like what I need for that certain shot. So it's
Right. Yeah, because like you'd said, if you were to look for something, the Truth and the Mako they're shaped very differently. The Mako is very rounded. The Truth has much more of a bevel to it. It's got a micro bead where I don't think the Mako has anything. The Truth has a little bit of dome. I feel like the Mako, I remember it being pretty flat. Where so if you were to hold the two up next to each other, you'd say these are totally different
You're
discs.
like, oh, I'm not going to try this.
Right.
Yeah,
but if you were to go out to a field and throw it and say, oh, this is a straight flying mid. Oh, this is also a straight flying mid.
Yep.
Then it kind of,
I've been throwing the crap out of that thing.
I love it.
It's
It's
so
awesome.
is it the Truth or the EMAC Truth?
EMAC Truth.
Ah, see, you lost me there. If there was an AJ Truth,
Goodness. AJ. Wow.
No, I love the EMAC Truth, and you know that.
I know he does. He does have a couple in his bag. Yeah. They're pretty sweet.
Yeah, I have the Prime, and then I have the Fusion Burst and the purple.
Oh, it was like the triple burst ones that we had. It's pretty sick.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Dang.
Yeah, only I get those.
That's right.
Okay, well, if you can get like a Kona stamp on them or something.
Oh, just like wipe his.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
right.
Wow.
This is the Kona Truth.
Aww.
Dang. Jeez.
Getting roasted from all sides.
It's still 4 letters, you know. Hey, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Can we make this happen?
Sure,
please?
why not?
I bet he might say yes.
He might. You never know.
So what has it been like for you? I guess I don't know the proper way to phrase this question, but were there any discs that you thought I'm really going to like the Justice, for example, and then it just turned out to be too overstable for you? You thought this disc is going to make my bag, and then for whatever reason it didn't?
Maybe the Raider. I don't know if I've really given it a full chance. I've only had the overstable, the max weight Ralph Raider. That's the only one I've really been able to try so far. I'm really curious about a lower weight one to see how it would fly.
Sure.
But that's one that I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to love this. And then it kind of like, as I started trying the Trespass or the Grace, I was like, I think I'm liking the feel of these ones a little bit more. There's still a lot of discs that I have that I still want to just go out to the field and just throw for giggles.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, my bag's pretty sick.
So what is, when you take the Raider out for the first time, what is that process like of, okay, this is a brand new disc. Obviously you can tell it's a distance driver, and you throw it, and then you have your first impression. Take me through kind of that first throw until now you're at the point of like, well, this disc probably isn't for me. I think the Trespass is a little bit better for me. Is it the feel in the hand, the flight? How does it go from brand new disc to, well, maybe this is a disc that Eric will throw or Danny will throw or whoever, whatever?
For me, it's the Glide for sure. Like if I'm going out to a field and I'm testing out a Raider or whatever, I guess like a moment in my head that really sticks was I was trying the Getaway, and for some reason I was expecting it to kind of fly a little bit straighter before it went left, and then all of a sudden I threw it and it just like started like skipping, and I was like, I don't want that.
Right.
So yeah, like just when I go out to the field, I'm definitely thinking about, I have my Bushnell rangefinder. So it's like, I throw all my discs, and that's what I did at my last field session is I like threw all of them, all the drivers that I was trying. And then I like kind of went to each one and like ranged back to my bag. And for me, it was like, which one's going to go the farthest? And then I also was like, okay, these ones are all the way to the left. I don't know if I need those. So it's just finding things that work for my game.
Yeah. Will you take the Raider and a Trespass and compare them? Or is it just, I mean, maybe it's not the best timing for this sort of a question because you probably have so many discs that you almost have to. But if, say, a new disc were to come out, would you take that disc along with whatever's in your bag and then test it and say, does it go farther? Does it turn more? Does it fade more? Or just, I know the disc's in my bag, I'm going to throw this and just see what it does?
No, definitely. Like, let's say if like halfway through the season, you guys come out with like a juicy disc, but I'm like, oh, my bag's pretty set. I'll probably like go out to a course more than anything. And I'll like throw a disc that I would usually throw for that shot. And if it's like supposed to be somewhat similar or whatever, I'll throw that as well. And then I'll see, okay, well, the first one that I threw, it faded back to the basket. The newer one, it doesn't have that much fade. I don't know if I need it, or maybe it's like, oh my God, like it was perfect. That's exactly what I wanted the other one to do. So for me, it's like more like on the road, like on a course.
Okay.
For that.
How many throws would you say? I'd love to get your answer for this too, Eric. How many throws would you say it takes you on average to take a brand new disc, no stamp, no flight numbers, nothing about it, until you've kind of decided like, yeah, I like this disc, or no, I probably don't like this disc. It's maybe not for me, or yeah, it's totally for me. Is it one throw? Does it usually take maybe a whole round?
Typically it's one of the first few throws.
Really?
Yeah, for me. I mean, like it's obviously going to be the feel in the hand. Like, okay, is this comfortable in my hand for one? And then the second is going to be like, okay, first throw. Let's maybe the first. Okay, let's put on some Anheuser. Okay, what does it do on that? Blah, blah, blah. Like test all angles on it. And then probably like 5 to 10 throws before I'm like super in love with something, maybe.
Yeah, okay. I think that's pretty similar to me. For me, I think it's a whole round. Like, and if there's a new disc coming out, if I'm out playing a casual round, I'll throw it on every single hole. Yeah. Depending, even if the shot or the hole doesn't require that shot.
Make it bend for that shot.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously forehands. You guys know about that. What's up?
Dude, forehand king.
No, I would say I don't think I've ever thrown a disc once and said, well, this isn't something I like. Yeah. You know, you got to give it at least 4 or 5 shots, I think, to give it a fair shake to see if it's something that is going to make your bag or not going to make your bag. I have thrown a couple discs once and said, wow, this has potential. This is going to be in my bag.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it takes a full round for me.
Mm-hmm. I remember when we came out with the Mavericks, we had those kind of like day glow yellow prototype ones.
Yes.
Jeremy let me throw them. And it was at the old warehouse. If anybody's familiar with that, I don't want to call it a hole, but we had a tee pad and a 300-foot
hole.
Yeah.
It was a tee pad and a basket. We had a one-hole course.
Right. Grass in the middle.
Yeah.
And I threw it on that. And I was like, oh, this is exactly what I've been wanting us to come out with for so long, Jeremy. Brought one single tear to my eye.
Yeah, he got halfway there.
Right. Yeah, well, exactly. But it was so straight, 185 feet. Yeah. Look, I'm trying to get pars, okay?
No.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing.
So this was a question that Danny actually put in. And in your video of the first 9 holes over at Jones East, you had mentioned that one of your very first discs when you first started playing was the River.
Yeah.
Is that something that's still in your bag, or is it similar to the Maverick? No,
not in the bag. I think when we went out and threw it during that 9-hole round, I don't know if I just didn't love it, and I liked the Maverick a lot more. For me, it felt more controllable, and it's DD, right?
Yep.
So it's just like I want to have as much DD in my bag as possible. So it's like as much as the River would be cool to have in the bag. I feel like my game has surpassed the River, and I feel like the Maverick for me makes more sense, and I feel like I'm representing dynamic discs a lot better.
Sure. And then a follow-up to that was, were there any other DD Latitude Westside discs that you had before when you were first starting? Were there any other ones that you had experience with coming into your Switch?
No, but everyone talked about the harp a lot. And that was always a disc that people were like, oh, I wish my company had that, or something like that. So it's just like the harp was something that I was always looking forward to like messing with, which it's been interesting because I threw a overstable putter, not as similar as a feel. So I'm kind of getting used to the rim of the harp, which is fine, but it does exactly what I need it to. It's just getting used to it. It's a different feel.
So when you're throwing the harp, are you throwing it more on backhands or forehand approaches?
Always forehand.
Yeah, that's, I think.
Oh, no backhands at all.
I think most players that you're referencing the harp are using it for that forehand approach.
Yeah. I mean, Ricky, we're allowed to talk about Ricky, right?
Sure. He made it famous.
Yes. Yeah. Whenever you saw Rick on Latitude 64, he was throwing the crap out of the harp.
Yes.
So
Yeah. He threw that thing all over the place.
But now he's on dynamic discs.
Yes. What's up, Rick? What up, Rick?
Yeah. By the way, depending on when things get released, either check out our interview with Ricky or potentially stay tuned for an episode with Ricky.
No, this is when we announced it right here. Ricky to Dynamic.
Yeah, Ricky's on the team. This is the announcement video.
This is the announcement video right here.
Everything we did with GK Pro was obsolete.
Nah, don't worry about that.
Ricky's on the team. Check out Kona's interview where they talk about it. Okay, so Kona, what about Ricky's game? I wish I could do that,
Oh my gosh, his forehand. I wish I had a distance forehand. Distance forehand, and honestly, in the last few years, he's gained some crazy distance on his backhand.
Yeah.
Like, he used to be like one of those where you're like, oh, he's okay at backhand, and now you're like, wow, he gets so much spin on the backhand. It's insane. He has an interesting form to it too.
Oh, yeah.
Because of his form, he gets so much spin off of it. It's interesting.
For me, I want to answer that question.
All of it?
I mean, obviously, yes. But my strongest point as a player has always been my putting. The putting is what has always won me events, titles, all of that. I've never had a forehand, right? Ricky has a fantastic forehand.
Yes, he does.
And I would take Ricky's putt.
Yeah.
That's how good Ricky's putt is.
His putt is incredible.
And who else is excited to see Ricky putt with daggers?
I think everyone.
Ricky is excited to putt with daggers.
Insane. Like, chills.
Do you ever find yourself doing that maybe during a tournament or during the season or whatever and seeing, say, I don't know, you notice Katrina's drives are going an extra 10 feet farther and thinking like trying to model your game off of someone else, or this is what works for Katrina, or, you know, Kristen, she throws her grace really well. So I want to try and do this like Kristen does. Do you ever find yourself doing that?
When it comes to driving, no.
Okay.
I don't. Just because I've been working on my drive for so long and I've done my own, like, you know, my dad and I used to go out to the field a lot and I would film my own form and then I would personally tweak it myself. I'm very, very proud of my own driving form. But when it comes to backhand putter approaches like Paige Pierce and putting like Paige Pierce or like Lisa Fakis, for example, who's a really good putter.
She's really good.
That's who I'm like, okay, what are they doing that I'm not? And so it's like, I'll watch them on either footage or in person. I'm like, oh, well, their elbow's coming first. Or, you know, Ricky was like, oh, you need to finger pop. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
English, please.
I know. So when it comes to putting and upshots, definitely I may be looking at other people, but it's also like I'm working on myself. I may implement some things from other people, but usually I try to fix them on my own.
Do you ever, when you're having that thought or moment or whatever, do you ever think to yourself like, I really need to get more of my legs involved in my putt, and then think about like who has a really good lower body motion in their putt? And then I don't know, say we were talking about AJ with the Wardens earlier. Say you think, okay, AJ Risley has a really good lower leg kind of getting his weight into his putts, and then you go and watch that? Or is it more of just like, man, I really like the way that Kristen does X. I wonder if I could do that.
So there was a point in the season at, I believe, Great Lakes Open, where I was really struggling with my putt. And I remember watching Chris Dickerson and I was like, wow, like he uses his legs a lot. Like I think I'm more of like a back and forth kind of putter. And I straight up messaged him and was like, can we get a session in? Can I get like 2 hours of your time just to hear what you have to say about putting? Because I need help. Like, I don't mind. I don't have pride when it comes to learning something new like that.
Right.
So we actually sat out on the putting green for several hours and he like helped me. And like, I didn't end up sticking with it because his form is very unique to him. I think everybody's putting form is very unique. But I did take the legs away from that and I took away from some small things. But I'm never afraid to ask for help when it comes to stuff like that, for sure.
Right. It's interesting that you say that people have unique putting form, because I think your putting form is very unique, where it seems like most people are kind of categorized in either like a staggered stance, kind of, I think of like Paul Macbeth as like a stereotypical 1 foot in front of the other, bring it down towards your back leg, and then a straddle stance like Kevin Jones, where you're basically scraping the disc on the ground between your legs. And you're almost, it's almost more of like a hybrid of the two. Yeah. Was that just a comfort thing of this is how it's comfortable for me to stand? I can transition my weight really well. I can keep the disc lined up, or how did that come about?
So I have an issue where if you watch my form on my putting, at least the ones that I did before, I'm working on one that's really been great lately. But Ricky, he offered his services for putting, so I may take that up. But I had an issue where I would come down like your normal person, and usually people come down to their core and then it's just like a straight up, like it's very simple. And for some weird reason, my brain like clicks. It's like it goes straight here, and then for some reason I go to my right hip, and then I drop my elbow, and then it turns into like this weird push putt that doesn't have any spin. And then I miss right because obviously I'm coming to my right hip.
Right.
So because of that, I tried more of a off center putt because I felt like because I was so straight on, it was forcing me to do that. So I thought maybe if I put my left leg out a little bit and I try and maybe come from my left side a little more, it would help. It's all form. Putting form is so interesting. So for me, it's just trying to find a spin and then trying to find where my brain does not go to that right hip. I've always had it, like always.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's why the Anheuser, it didn't mess with me because I didn't go there. I didn't have the chance to mess up like that. So this off season is like reps of center, go center. Yeah.
Repetition.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like that's the key. And one thing it's almost a benefit of like struggling with your putting form, because I feel like there's just not a right way to putt. I think as long as the disc ends up in the basket, that's what matters, where there's a right way to throw a backhand, where no matter what you do, if you're throwing nose up, you're not going to get an optimal flight out of that disc. Whereas putting, more often than not, you're not going to be farther than 60, 70 feet.
Right.
And so no matter what you do, you can still get that distance. So as long as the disc is going in the basket, you could be standing on your head.
Yep.
Dang.
But if it goes in, it goes
Wow.
in. Yeah, that's an Anthony tip right there.
Impressive.
Anytime you want putting advice from me,
I want to see a video of that.
cartwheels,
Stand on your head.
handstands. You could try sitting down maybe and just
Holly
completely
Finley.
take your lower legs out of it.
Yeah,
Holly
she did do
Finley,
that.
She literally sits down. Like
Wait, what?
she will literally, if she's in a weird position,
I've seen that video.
she will sit on her butt and go, doop.
Like if she's under, like instead of going to a knee or something.
Yeah.
Instead of like a big straddle out,
Yep.
like sit down.
Which is funny because she has very long legs.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'll
Yeah.
just sit down and
So then,
I'm like, is that illegal?
yeah, I was just gonna say, how do you get what?
If your foot is behind your eye and you're
You're
straddling
fine.
out, it's no different than if you're just straddling out.
Mm-hmm. She's not leaning on anything.
She's not in
Yeah.
front of her lie.
Mm-mm.
She's
I
still
feel like-
behind it.
Right.
She's made it work and she loves to talk. Like she loves to be like, oh yeah, I sit down for that.
I'm trying to envision myself doing that, and I don't see it going well.
I don't either.
I also really want to try this next time I'm like
All right.
under a tree or something.
Yeah, it's usually when she uses it.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a video coming out soon.
My putting can't get worse.
Hey.
So
It'd be fun.
I
Be a
might
fun
kind
video.
of shorten the distance of putts that I can make, but maybe everything will just go.
Maybe you just throw.
straight.
Maybe you just lay everything up.
Sometimes
True.
it looks like it, Eric.
You're like, yeah, I meant to do that.
Right. Sometimes, yeah. I wish that. I wish it were that easy.
Yeah.
Okay, Kona. This is something that I've been doing with a couple of other guests that we've had on the show. Eric, you're more than welcome to once again participate
All right.
in the fun
Sweet.
trivia game that is called
Ooh.
"How Well Does Kona Know Kona?"
Oh boy.
These will be.
That's the name of the show for any guest. It doesn't
Right.
matter
It's
who
only
it is.
Kona.
It's been really
yeah.
awkward
Like-
for other people.
I don't know any. Who's Kona?
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Hey, Ricky, how well does Kona know
No
Kona?
Kona.
Yeah. So these are all going to be things about your disc golf career, and we're just going to see how well you know them. Eric, once again, you can
All right.
give your best guess as well. This one isn't quite disc golf, so I did lie. Strike one against the host. Do you know, as of yesterday, the exact number of Instagram followers that you have?
Oh my gosh.
54.1 thousand. But I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't show me the actual.
Well, it does if you
You can find
you
it.
can
If I
find
do
it.
my
But can
analytics,
you
sure.
find it?
I can find it.
You can find it.
I
I
found
can
it.
find it. I'm gonna guess 54,182.
I'll say.
No, it's probably less than that. Guess less.
Mm,
It's 54.1, but guess the other two.
you think it's over? You think you
Under.
guessed
It's
too
under.
much?
I guess too much.
Oh, well, then I'll go 0 since we're going
$1,
Price is Right
Bob.
rules.
Okay, well, if we're going by Price is
Price is
Right rules,
wrong.
yeah, then Eric would win. But if we were going by who is closer,
Yeah.
Kona would win by approximately 54,000.
50,000. Okay. Yeah.
The exact
I knew it was in
number-
the 50s. I knew
Yeah,
that.
as of yesterday afternoon, it was 54,120.
20. Okay, I knew it was lower.
All right.
It could potentially be 54,180 by now.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how my followers and everything reacts after the switch.
Mhm. Yeah.
It could be 154,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably that's more likely, I think. That's
Yes.
definitely more
Yeah.
likely. Moving into disc golf numbers. Do you know, and tell me the rating and the event of your highest rated round? And I will make an exception that I will take any of the top 3.
1,012.
Do you know an event or year?
2019.
Do you want to guess an event?
Ladies event, a women's global event? Or was it Waco?
I have no idea.
Waco.
I would want to say Waco.
Well, they told me that my round average was 996 for Waco. I just don't remember it being like maybe it was 1021? 1020.
I'm going to need
Tell
a final
me.
answer. Final
What's your
answer?
final
Waco,
answer?
1021.
I will give you half credit. Your highest rated round was 1021. It was at the 2018 Cowgirl Classic. Do you remember this?
I think was it in Rancho Cucamonga? Does it say? Can you say?
I didn't
Maybe.
write that part down.
Okay, I think it was.
Okay.
All women's event though,
It
right?
was a women. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't all women's.
Right. Your second and third highest rated rounds were at Waco this year. Rounds 1 and 2, I think it was. You shot a 10-10 and a 10-04.
Solid.
Yeah.
Not too shabby.
So, I'll give you 2 half credits because you
Okay,
got
so 1.
Yeah, you get 1 point for 2. It just split in half. Do you know across your career the percentage of the time that you've finished inside the top 10
This past year or in my career?
in your career across since you've been playing disc golf? Do you have a guess, Eric?
Top 10?
64%.
I'll go higher and say 68.
Would you like to continue going higher?
70.
Would you like to continue going higher?
Really?
75.
Go slightly lower.
74.
Just a
73.
hair less. Nailed it.
Yes, that's
Good
a point for
job,
me.
Eric.
That's not horrible.
That's really good.
That's not bad.
That is
I
so
expected-
good.
I
3 out of
expected a
every
lot
4
worse.
tournaments.
Yeah.
This
That
past
is-
year, I had like 26 out of, or no, I played 26 events. I think I did like 20 events out of like 25 in the top 10.
That's good.
That's very
And
good.
it's funny if
So
you go
good.
look, I think the other placings were like 25th place. Like they weren't.
Just either inside the top 10
Yeah, either
or
like blew it or like
Yeah, right.
drifted really well. Yeah.
Okay, the last one that I've got here is this is always the last one I ask because it is very difficult. So get ready. Do you know the total number of strokes that you have thrown in PDGA sanctioned events?
Oh my God. It sounds like a lot.
For half credit, I will tell you the number of PDGA sanctioned events you have played. Would you like to know? You've played 141 events.
I don't
That's
even.
probably cut.
I need a calculator. Can I cheat?
You can use a calculator. I'll make an exception. Do you have a number in mind, Eric?
I do, but yeah.
How many
No,
events?
there's 141
I'm gonna let
events.
her guess first.
I don't know the number of rounds, but 141 events. I would guess that probably breaks out somewhere close to like probably 400 event or 400 rounds.
Oh my God.
I would guess. I don't know.
That's what yeah.
I'm guessing there was a lot of 3-round events and some 4-rounders thrown in there, and then probably some 2-rounders. So 141 events. The total number of strokes in
Well,
your
it's hard because when I was a
sanctioned
child,
Yeah.
I threw like 300 strokes a tournament or something silly.
career. It is more than 300.
Better add that in there.
Yeah, whatever number you're at plus 300.
I'm gonna completely guess because that's hard. Because when I was a child, I had like a 203 rating as a child,
Sick.
like legit.
Talk about improvement.
I know, probably the biggest rating.
Yeah, oh,
Better
for
than
sure.
quadrupled.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess around 2,000 to 3,000.
2 or 3,000, or did you say 23,000?
23,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would guess 35,300.
See, there you go. You're accounting for the
Yes.
Oh, for the
junior tournament.
yes.
Okay.
Oh my God.
You're both relatively close.
Okay.
The number is 29,370.
It's a lot of throws.
How many of those can you remember?
How many of those were OB?
Walk us through. Yeah.
Whoa.
That I don't know.
Whoa.
Probably like 3.
I would guess
Right?
about 3 or 4.
Yeah,
Maybe
okay.
4.
My OB rate is good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it's strokes or if it's throws,
Oh, interesting.
you got to start
Okay.
asking that
He
question
didn't
with
factor
strokes.
it in.
Okay. Take it up with Statmando. That
Okay.
is where I got that information from.
I'll get him on the phone right now.
Whether or not they account, I would have to assume they account for
I'm
OB
sure.
strokes.
I'm sure they did.
Whether or not they can.
I don't
I'm
know.
guessing.
I feel like they do.
I would guess it
Yeah,
probably
I'm guessing
takes-
they just took their score.
I think it just
Yeah.
takes it from PDGA. Whether or not there's a way that they could tell within that, I don't know.
a
That
lot
would
of
be
shots.
fascinating to see how much.
How many do you think Anthony's done?
OBs or strokes?
It's probably pretty similar numbers. Let's be honest here. It's probably.
Wow.
I bet my number is
60,000?
60,000.
He's been playing for how long?
How long have I been playing, or
Yeah.
how many events?
How many events have you played?
I've been playing for. I started the summer going into my freshman year of high school, which would have been 2007.
Okay.
So, hold on, let me do
Oh,
my
you got
math.
out of high school.
I graduated in 2011. So that would be, what is that, 15 years? It'll be 16 years next year. So I bet I've played less than 15 or 16 tournaments at least sanctioned ones.
So 60,000. You were pretty close.
Yeah,
Sounds
that's probably, and that's just the obese. It's been an ugly 15 years, man.
goodness.
It's been rough.
Goodness.
It's been rough. So this is Danny had a couple of goofy questions that he wants to know. This one's not quite so goofy, but I guess we can go around the table. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Oh,
I've got
Am I
my
I
going
want,
first?
your guess.
whoever wants to go first. Or we'll all go at the same time.
you go first.
Okay. My favorite movie of all time is The Departed.
Oh,
It's got
Okay.
Leo in
I was about to say
it,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Matt Damon.
Leo.
Oh, yeah.
Throwback.
I love that movie. I could watch it many times. I have watched it.
I have watched it many
I
times.
do enjoy that movie.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie of all time, Eric?
It has to be Empire.
Yeah. That's a second. There's this movie called Across the Universe, and it's a musical, but it's all Beatles music.
Cool.
Great storyline, great actors, cinematography is great, and of course, wonderful music. So, Across the Universe, if you haven't seen it, it's wonderful.
Cool.
Nice.
This one is... I'm hoping somebody can answer this one well. Do you have a favorite life hack? I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I can't think of one that like is
I know one.
the definition of a life hack.
I know one.
Okay, let's hear yours.
Okay. I learned this. This might be the only thing I've learned on TikTok, but I learned this on
Okay.
TikTok.
All right.
All fractions are reversible. Or not fractions, percentages.
I was like,
Oh,
So 4%, so 10% of 100, if you reverse it, 100% of 10 is always the same thing. So if you needed 50% of 10, you could also take 10% of 50.
cool.
And it always works. There you go.
TikTok is actually useful for something
Math.
Wow.
other than challenges.
Get all your math information from TikTok. If you're a child out there and your parents yell at you for watching TikTok,
Drop out of school.
I'm doing homework.
Do some homework
I'm
on
learning.
TikTok.
Yeah, please don't do that. Stay in school, kids.
I
Oh,
can't think of
man.
any life hacks.
I can't think of any
You should
life
have asked. I
hacks.
would have thought about that one.
I'm trying. Yeah.
Okay, keep it going in the back of your mind. If you
Okay.
think of anything, if it pops up, let me know and we can interject. What food would you bring to a desert island? I think it's supposed to be deserted island.
With desert island.
A dessert island?
desert
desert island. Yeah, it's an island
dessert.
of desserts.
What am I gonna bring?
What food? Yeah, you're on a deserted island.
Okay.
You get to bring one food.
Is it because is it's good or I need to survive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you get one food.
What's your go-to food?
The heart. I mean, I would say cheesecake or cake or
So
You're not
sweet.
lasting very long.
cupcake. I'm
Like a
dying.
sweet- You can go like
She took
food.
Dessert
Yeah.
island, literally.
Pasta,
Pasta's good.
which I'm trying to go back to gluten free.
Oh my gosh. I heard. Okay, go ahead. That reminded me of. I heard a really cool saying the other day.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Eric.
Because I'm still.
Okay. I thought it was. I forget the context that I heard it in, but it was basic. It was. There's no. In my mind, it kind of correlated really well to disc golf. The quote is something about like, there's no perfect pasta sauce. There are only perfect pasta sauces. So there is no best perfect pasta sauce, but for a certain situation, this is the perfect pasta sauce. And that kind of, I was like, oh yeah, there's kind of no perfect disc or there's no perfect player. This player might be better than another player, or this disc might be better. Like
Interesting.
the Felon is better for headwinds, but that doesn't mean it's a better disc than the EMAC Truth. The EMAC Truth is better for going straight. That doesn't mean it's better than a Felon. So there's no perfect disc, or there's no perfect player, or there's no perfect putting form like we were talking about before.
I like
But
it.
there might be a perfect putting form for a certain situation, like sitting down if you're underneath a tree.
Hey.
Did you pick your favorite?
Back to the question.
Some kind of casserole.
Oh, casserole.
Okay.
Okay.
I love
okay.
casserole.
I feel like the classic answer is always like watermelon because it's
Yeah.
good, but then you've got
It's
water.
hydrating, but
I feel like you'd get so sick of watermelon after about a
yeah,
day.
and it doesn't do anything for you.
You're gonna.
I
need
feel like
to
I'd
eat
be
a lot.
hungry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd be eating
And
a
very
lot.
hydrated.
You would be very hydrated and hungry 24/7.
Can you catch fish on
I was
this
about to say, could I
island?
do
And-
salmon?
Yeah.
Oh, what would?
Can I
What
kill
kind
a
of
squirrel?
food? Yeah, what kind of food could you make? like a fishing net out of her, a fishing rod or something.
I've been watching a lot of Survivor lately, so they do that kind of stuff on that show.
Have you ever seen, I think it's called Alone. It's either Alone or Alive. I think it's Alone.
I think it's Alone. I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, they just like go out in the middle of nowhere and try and survive.
It's like
for as long as they
Survivor.
can.
Yes, it's awesome. It is the coolest show. I would be so bad at that.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'd go home.
What about
thirsty.
Naked and Afraid?
I've not seen
I don't
that.
want to be naked and afraid.
Or Afraid?
It doesn't sound fun to me in the middle of the wilderness.
It doesn't, and I
running
don't
around.
understand the concept of it. Like,
People like seeing naked bodies. I guess.
it's weird.
All right. Last question we've got. What was the worst job you've ever had?
I worked at a rec center. I used to check people in, so I'd get the crazy moms, like with 7 children, be like, okay, we want to go swimming and rock climbing, and we want to use the racquetball room. So yeah, and I also had to clean like the bathrooms and stuff, and the pool floor. So yeah,
I could deal with crazy people all day, but I don't want to clean a bathroom.
No.
that was my first job ever.
My worst was also my first job too.
Ooh. I guess mine was too.
What was
Working in
yours?
fast food.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah?
where'd
Yeah.
you work?
It was a place called Marshall's is what it's called.
Okay.
It's kind of like just a local burger joint. And it's like everybody has like one of their first jobs is like in food. And the other one would be, what's the name of that place? It's kind of like a Western Sizzlin' is what it was called. It was like a buffet slash steak.
Like Sizzler?
Yeah. Yeah. Like the Sizzler. It was like Emporia's version of it.
Okay.
And I was a waiter and I hated every second.
Yeah.
Because
Being around
nobody's
people?
nice to you.
No.
Like,
No. Where's my water?
be nice to your servers, guys and gals.
Give
because,
them a tip.
Yeah. And I tip extremely high.
Me too.
I think because of that job. I honestly do think it's because of that job. So I think those are my two.
At least 25%.
Yeah.
There you go. I saw the funniest interaction last night. So Madison took her last final yesterday.
I saw that.
Oh, congrats,
Congratulations to
Madison.
her.
Graduating this weekend. Very excited for her. So we went out. We decided, let's go out for dinner and whatever. And so we went to El Dorito. And as we're getting ready to pay out, El Dorito is one of those restaurants where like they bring your check to the table, but then you pay
Go to
at
the
desk as
register.
you're- Yeah.
Yep.
And so there was a group of these guys in front of us that had all gone out. And it was like they were splitting the checks. It was like, oh, I got this, I got that, I got this, whatever. And I hear the first guy go, are you kidding me? And I was like, oh, there must be like an issue with the check or something. And I looked and he was talking to his friend. And his friend was like looking at him and he was like, you tipped her 56 cents. And he started like full on shaming his friend in front of the restaurant. The friend left and he was like, oh, that's not how you tip, blah, blah, blah. He like gave the waitress a nice tip and whatever. And he said, that's how you tip, blah, blah, blah.
Good for him.
Get him, man. It was so funny.
That's how they make their money. You have to give it to the bus people, right? The people who bus their tables. It's like there's always a cut. So you got to give them a
That's
decent
frustrating.
Right. Yeah, it was very funny.
I would have taken a picture of him.
He left.
And
Blast.
posted
The
it
friend
on-
started like making fun of him and he just walked out the door.
It's probably embarrassed. He's like, oh, I'm such
He was
a jerk.
definitely embarrassed, but you know, sometimes a little embarrassment does the body good.
Oh. Well, especially when it's well-deserved embarrassment. Like,
Yeah. I don't know if their waitress was mean or something to him or
never.
they
Not at El
just
Dorito.
didn't-
Everybody at El Dorito is
Yeah,
super nice.
I've never had a bad experience.
No.
My worst job was at Target. I worked in the meat and dairy section.
Meat and dairy at Target.
Oh, did you cut the meat?
No.
The cheese. Did you cut the cheese?
I cut the cheese. That's why it was the worst, man. I just came home smelling like Swiss every day.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So that was it.
Why? Well,
It just, it was not my thing. I always worked, my biggest pet peeve about that job was I worked kind of the closing shift.
okay.
So I would usually work from like 2 to 8 p.m. But the problem was the store didn't close for 2 hours after I left. And so the person that would come in the morning would always be like, oh, the shelves are like half empty. There's this missing. There's that missing. So I always made sure the last thing I did before I left was stock the
Restock.
shelves.
Yeah.
But then there's still 2 hours of people coming in
Sure.
and buying stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Weird.
Just whatever.
How did you quit?
They asked me to.
Okay. Fair enough.
There wasn't much of a question mark.
Did they bring you in the office and say, Anthony, the shelves are empty. It is time for you to leave.
That's pretty much what it was. Yeah,
Okay.
I was like, I just got here. I didn't even get the chance to do anything. It's not my fault. Yeah. So there you go.
Oh, man.
That was the end of my Target career.
I'd say it's worked out for you.
Yeah.
I'm much, much happier where I'm at. Yeah. Was anyone able to think of a favorite life hack?
You make me want to look one up.
I know. I still don't have one. I don't have a life hack. I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants.
That's your life hack right there.
That's my life hack.
The life hack is just don't expect anything. Don't really plan.
I guess I don't even know if this is a life hack, but I did it on my boat.
Uh-huh.
I have a boat. I have two batteries on my boat. That one goes to the starter and the other goes to like the electronics and all that kind of stuff. And you have to charge those batteries, right? Or they just die. It's not like a car. You got to charge them. So what I did is I went and bought a charger for them. And a lot of people will take the batteries off their boat and then plug them in. That's kind of a pain, right?
Sounds like a lot of work.
So I took this charger and I basically drilled it to the bottom of my boat. I just installed it on the bottom of my boat, and it's a pontoon boat, so it sets out of the water and it's waterproof and all that. So then it's just plug it in is all I got to do. Plug an extension cord into it to charge it every night, as opposed to taking the batteries off.
Right.
That's the only life hack I can think of.
So it's on the bottom of the boat, like where you walk, or on the
underneath the boat,
like between the pontoons,
between the tunes. Yep.
The Looney Tunes.
The Looney Tunes.
So what happens if there's like a big wave?
Well, it's waterproof up to like 30 meters. So if it's getting screwed up, I have bigger issues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's like 30 meters underwater, I'm not too worried about the electronics at that point.
Yeah, kind of a package deal.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Were you able to find one?
I can't think of something. And it's funny because like I live in a van. I would expect myself to have some good life hacks.
What about food? How do you cook?
Oh, I cook on a 2-stove burner in the van.
Yeah.
Just
leave the door open when you cook.
Always.
That's the
always. But we also have 2 fans, so it's like when it's like really cold out, we won't open the door. I'll just have this fan like blowing really hard out, and then that one will just bring air in. So I've found my ways. I just can't think of anything.
What's a life hack for sleeping in a van? How do you get comfortable and keep it quiet?
Well, sometimes we stay at like Flying J's, which is just incredibly loud. So you just have to deal. I have earplugs that I sleep with. Colton can't do it. They fall right out. But I sleep with earplugs if I get annoyed. But sleeping in a van, like our bed is so comfy. It's just like a normal home.
Mm-hmm. Well, you even have said that you struggled not sleeping in your van. Like you don't sleep as well in a nice bedroom. So like,
really? Yeah. You're just so accustomed to being in a van.
Yeah. It's just like, it's cozy. Like it's just so close, and Colton can't, like we're in a king size bed at home and he's like all the way on the other side. And I just feel like alone and by myself and I'm ready to get back into the van. And I don't know, it's just, you have everything right there. I don't have to like go into another room to get something. I just have to like jump down and grab it and come back up. It's just everything.
You probably don't have to get out of bed for most things. You could probably just reach and
pretty much
grab whatever it is.
Our snacks are like literally by like my feet, like our whole, what's it called, cupboard full of snacks. So it's like if I get hungry, I just reach over and grab
snacky snacks.
There's your life hack.
Yeah.
Keep your snacks.
Yeah, keep your snacks
arms
close.
reach of the bed. Yeah. There we go. All right, Kona, where can people follow you? Where can they follow your journey and everything along the way?
They can follow me on my Instagram, Kona_disc, my Facebook, Kona Panis Disc Golf. I'm sure in the future you can probably find me on the Dynamic Discs website. And then
guarantee it.
Yes.
KonaPanis.com is going to be where all my custom discs are going to be released. So keep an eye out for those. There's some limited stuff coming out.
Sick stuff coming out.
And then YouTube, Kona Panis Disc Golf. Easy peasy.
Cool.
And then look for those Orbit Escapes to be dropping on dynamicdisc.com very soon.
Oh, they're going to be so juicy.
Yes.
Do we have any of those? Like,
not yet.
I want to see one.
No look, no touch.
And what if Kona wants to see one? I'm winking for the audio people.
Yeah, you are. I can show you an Escape with her stamp on it.
I've seen an Escape with her
stamp. There you go.
What if I just like colored in the outside?
Sure, that could work.
Close enough, right? All right, thank you, Koma. Thank you, Koma, for your time. Thank you so much, Kona, for your time. Eric, thank you also for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
What? Happy to do it.
I'm sure you are.
You guys want to do it again tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
All right.